Hello, my name is Lucy and today I'm going to be telling you guys the story of the time that I drove across the United States. And this was from Portland, Oregon, where I am originally from, to Orlando, Florida, which is now where I currently live. I actually moved to Orlando, Florida because I now work for Walt Disney World, the most magical place on earth. My best friend Zoe and I decided to do the Disney College program together. We both wanted our cars there, so we decided to make it a road trip, and we kind of caravanned and followed each other the whole way. It was definitely one of the most unique and crazy experiences I've ever had, and I'm so glad that I've had the experience.
Because I feel like it really opened my eyes.
So we actually decided to split the road trip up into 6 days, and this worked out amazing for us because that way we never drove a stretch of time that was too long for us to handle. We never had to drive at night, which was really awesome. And this way we actually booked out every hotel that we would stay at in each city that we stopped in. So the first day we were driving through Oregon, and I'm personally from Portland, Oregon, which is very northwest in the state, so I had never been through eastern Oregon. It was just really cool to see what the rest of the state looked like, and a lot of it was countryside, and it was so beautiful. And I remember that we drove by water a lot of the time, so it was really windy, and I actually had a lot of anxiety because I have been in situations where it's windy and it kind of like pushes your car a little bit, but luckily that didn't happen and it was fine. And the first destination that we had was actually Twin Falls, Idaho. The first day we got to Twin Falls, Idaho, and we stayed in this cute little hotel. We were on like the first level, and there's a cute little hot tub, and
we went to Olive Garden.
So when we got there, we decided to just kind of explore. We found the most beautiful lookout of this place. I think it was called like Snake Lake or something, but it was in Twin Falls, Idaho, and there was this beautiful scene of water. Who knew that Idaho was this beautiful? We were both kind of shook. And we went to this little gift store that was literally like a potato gift shop. Like,
it had potato everything. It was so cute.
The next morning we decided that we wanted to work out. We asked the hotel if they had a gym, and they said no, but we do have kind of like a deal with the gym across the street, which is called Gold's Gym. And they just told us that if we go in and say like, hey, we're staying at this hotel, then they would let us work out. So we get to Gold's Gym and we literally fill out all this paperwork, give them our emails and like all our personal information just so that we can work out there. And it worked out great. It was an awesome workout, and to this day I still get emails from that gym. It's kind of funny. That was pretty much all that happened in Idaho. We were on our way the next day to Rawlins, Wyoming. First of all, the drive to Wyoming was absolutely beautiful.
I literally felt like I was in the wild, wild west and that I was a cowboy.
My friend Zoe and I had little walkie-talkies so that we can still talk to each other while we drove, and that way like our phone could be navigating and playing music too. And I remember this is when we started calling each other Little Red and Big Blonde, because Zoe's a small redhead and I'm a tall blonde. We'd be like, Little Red, you want to stop up here for McDonald's? And it was perfect. So I highly recommend to get walkie-talkies if you are ever caravanning across the United States. I've been to Wyoming before. I think it's a beautiful state. There's so many beautiful national parks, but the particular hotel that we booked in Wyoming was not the best at all. So the hotel that we stayed at was actually right next door to a prison. We just kind of got bad vibes as soon as we got there.
But we were trying to be positive about it, you know?
When we first got there, we had to use those little luggage carts that hotels give you in order to move your stuff, and we had all of our stuff, all of our personal belongings in our car, which we didn't want to leave, so we decided like might as well be safe and just push it all in the room. I was moving my stuff with this luggage cart.
This couple that was there just completely made fun of me for not using the luggage cart properly, but really it was broken. Like one of the wheels just was stuck, and I was like, really? Are you really gonna like give me shit for this? So that kind of already put me off on the wrong foot. But then the inside of the hotel just smelled like musty, and it smelled like tobacco, and the guy who checked us in was tripping.
So we got to our room. It was just so dark and spooky. I literally started to feel sick, like I caught a cold randomly. So we were like, you know what, let's just get out of the room. We went to this little Thai restaurant that was local, and this town is like a ghost town. Like we didn't see another person aside from like in the hotel and in Walmart, anywhere driving around. So we get to the Thai restaurant and it's a packed restaurant. So I'm like, okay, this place has got to be good. And it was pretty good. I personally like pad see ew if you ever get Thai food.
It's my favorite dish.
So we left the next morning at 7 a.m. and we go downstairs and what did we see on the TV? Storm warning. So there was like thunderstorms coming in and we're like, great, just what we need. The next day we decided that we would stop in Cheyenne, which is this cute little town in Wyoming, which is honestly where we should have gone in the first place as our second stop. But we didn't want to overwhelm ourselves with too long of a drive on the second day. But we did stop there and went to this cute little place and had brunch there, and they had like
avocado toast and lattes, so we were like revived.
We started driving to Lincoln, Nebraska. Everything just turned around for the better when we started driving to Nebraska.
Well, actually not quite yet.
Driving to Nebraska, there were rainstorms as the Weather Channel had predicted, and in the distance it looked kind of like tornadoes. You know when you can see far away like heavy downpour of rain and it kind of looks like a tornado? Well, that was happening like all over, and it was also just like super dark and eerie. And the thing about Nebraska is that it's very flat, so that's why they call it like the big sky state, because when you're driving through it, it's literally just like sky and ground and cornfields. And for the most part, it was beautiful and I loved it, but this certain section of the drive really scared us, and we were like on our walkie-talkie like,
is this okay?
Do we need to turn around? What do we do if this is a tornado? Do we just drive the other way? Or is there like a procedure? And we didn't see anybody else on the road for so long, so we were actually starting to get like very nervous. There's not much you can do but keep driving until you know that there is something wrong, if that makes sense. So yeah, we just kept on driving. This was one of our longer drives, and when we checked into our hotel, which was much nicer and much better of a vibe, like the people in Nebraska are so friendly. Everybody that we talked to was like an angel. But I remember that we were so hungry when we got there, so there's this restaurant that was just across the hotel. So we ended up going there. And I remember that on the menu, there was shark. Shark. We're in the middle of the United States. Like, I guess this would make sense in a coastal town, but first of all, I didn't even know it was legal to eat shark. And second of all, we're landlocked. Like, why do you have shark? I don't know, it was just weird. And that was pretty much all for Nebraska. It was overall a great state, one of my favorite places. We actually had a little bit of a photo shoot in the middle of the drive because of how cool it looks, because it is very flat, just like all sky. So there was this lookout point, and Zoe and I took a bunch of pictures, and I'll show you one. And that's kind of where I just got this feeling of like, this is such a cool thing that I'm doing.
And really put things in perspective.
For me to drive through our country and see really how vast it is, it just makes it feel so much bigger than when you take a plane. So then the next day we were driving to St. Louis, Illinois. The thing about Illinois is that I really don't remember anything. I do remember we stopped in Kansas City. We were craving like some kind of city experience. So we stopped in Kansas City and we had this amazing Italian lunch. And it was such a cute little city. Like, I want to go back. Yeah, I don't really remember anything about Illinois. I remember that our hotel room was super comfy and that we used the gym. The next day, we were going to Atlanta, Georgia. So I was really excited because this day we stopped in Tennessee. They had a little historical building that you could stop in, and it was really nostalgic for me because I lived in Tennessee for a year when I was younger. But one thing that I noticed is, I don't know if it was just because we were moving into more populated areas, but the further south that we got, the crazier the driving got.
My driving anxiety really kicked in this day.
I was also listening to this audiobook. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Zodiac book series, but it's really, really good. It's a dystopian novel, and it has action and romance and sci-fi, and it's very good, especially if you're into zodiac signs. I think you'll really like it. But I think I was listening to the third book, and the climax of this book is just very intense. And I was listening to that, and I couldn't really stop listening to it because it was so good. But it was also just making me super anxious. So I kept feeling like I was gonna die in my car because people were crazy at driving. And also, I forgot to mention that a lot of these states, the driving limit, especially I think in Wyoming, the speed limit is like 70 miles per hour, or like at one point I think it was 80 miles per hour. I could be wrong. Eventually I just had to put on like calm music and had to stop listening to my audiobook. And by the time we got to Atlanta, I was so thankful to be alive. Like I really saw my life flash before my eyes that many times that I just got there and I was like, thank God we're here. I don't want to drive anywhere. And Zoe was like, I don't want to drive anywhere either. So we ended up getting food at this place called Twin Peaks, which if you don't know, it's kind of like a Hooters.
But it's like mountain themed.
But we didn't know that. It was just across the street from our hotel. So we're like, cool, like we're too tired to drive anywhere. Let's just go here. So we walk in and we understand why it's called Twin Peaks.
Because all these girls are in their cute little mountain outfits with little boots, and they're all super pretty.
And so they seat us, and honestly, these girls were so nice. Like, it was a great experience, and now I love Twin Peaks, which is super random.
I remember that I ordered tacos and Corona.
I remember that the waitress was like, do you want a girl-sized Corona or a man-sized Corona? And I literally laughed out loud. I'll take the man-sized Corona.
Obviously, if somebody asks you a question like that, like, do you really think I'm gonna turn down the man-sized Corona? No.
So I got my man-sized Corona and I was happy as a clam, and it was just the best time. Like, me and Zoe were just vibing. Yeah, we really couldn't have asked for a better experience. And while we were at Twin Peaks, we couldn't stop talking about how we just wanted to go back to the hotel and go in the hot tub. So we rushed home from Twin Peaks because we thought that the hot tub closed at 10 p.m. But we get there and the hot tub was currently closed. We're like, you know what? It's fine. Let's just go up to our hotel room. We'll just fill the tub with hot water and just vibe in the hot tub. In the real tub. But it's like kind of a hot tub. We go in the bathroom and we realize that there actually isn't a hot tub, but there's a double-sided shower. So the two of us were like so sad. We're like, why did we think we had a tub? And like, why did we get the time of the hot tub closing wrong? And we're like, you know what? Let's just sit on the bottom of the shower floor with our bikinis and have hot water from the shower pour on us. So that's literally what we did, and we listened to Taylor Swift music. I don't know why, but we listened to like all of her albums just mixed. Then the next day it was time for us to reach our final destination, which was Orlando, Florida. All I remember from this drive was that every couple miles, all you would see is a sign for a sex shop or gators, like live gators that you could see. And I was like, we are in Florida, y'all. Yeah, that's really all that we saw for most of our drive until we got closer into Orlando. And then it started to look more tropical and there are palm trees. And I started to get so excited just because it's so polarizing from where I'm from. In Oregon, it's like cold and rainy most of the year. And in Florida, it's hot and humid most of the year. So I was just getting so excited to like be in this new place and start this new adventure. It was actually kind of funny because when we got into Orlando, there was a downpour of rain. We could barely see out of our windshields and we had to drive super slow, but we ended up staying in this little hotel, and the next day we checked into our Disney College program apartments, and the rest is history. And I'm so glad that we made the move to Florida, and I'm so glad we decided to drive. I actually love road tripping now, and I can't wait until I can have another long road trip like that, especially when I can plan it out more to go to places I've always wanted to go. For me, some of my bucket list places now are New Orleans, Louisiana, and I really want to go to Savannah, Georgia. So comment down below where you would like to go to and where you would like to have a road trip. That's really all that I have for this story time. So thank you so much for watching, and leave a comment down below if you like this kind of video. I personally love watching storytime videos. I'm currently self-isolating, so I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos, and these are kind of the videos that I enjoy watching. I hope that you all stay safe and healthy and have an amazing day, and thanks again for watching.